Folks, we have a couple of news about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI and SDI. We got a lot of news on this, folks, so you definitely want to continue watching this. So the Biden administration is taking action with billions of dollars from the American Rescue Plan being put towards helping millions of Americans. Under this new plan, many more people will be able to receive financial aid. States are also approving bills that will help shore up rent and utility assistance programs. With this happening, 5 major cities and states, and like California, will receive federal help to get the unsheltered residents into permanent housing under a new plan that was launched. It's part of Biden's administration and his large goal to reduce homelessness by 25%. Biden does have a big goal of reducing homelessness, but it was pretty much useless unless he will send out a stimulus payment. What we have to know is that the All Inside initiative will partner the U.S. Council on Homelessness and its 19 member agencies with state officials to get some things done in Los Angeles, Chicago, Dallas, Seattle, and Phoenix. But according to President Biden's domestic policy advisor, the goal is for the federal government to provide knowledge and resources to population centers where nearly half the nation's unhoused residents live. She stated that the administration will offer tailored support for 2 years to improve efforts toward housing and unsheltered people into participating communities, including embedding a federal official in each area. In addition to that, teams will be deployed to help communities obtain federal funding, establish a network of resources, and identify where regulations can be loosened up, and the process for securing housing can be sped up. Because according to White House officials, more than 580,000 Americans were homeless in 2022, with 4 out of 10 of them unsheltered and sleeping on sidewalks. And now the White House said the program will build on the $2.5 billion already allocated to prevent homelessness under the administration's American Rescue Plan. Even in certain cities like Seattle, nearby cities joined together to launch a regional homelessness authority 2 years ago. Officials say the new agency has underperformed and had trouble fulfilling their duties. But now Democratic Governor Katie Hobbs, a former social worker, has also successfully pushed for $150 million to be included in the housing of Arizona. This will be a trust fund to give states stimulus money. In its first program of the 2024 budget, D.C. Council restored millions of dollars in funding to various housing programs. That included emergency rental assistance programs, which helps people in emergency situations cover rent or their housing needs. Under the mayor and the proposed budget, funding for the program would have been cut by more than 80%, dropping the funding level to about $8 million. The council voted to restore funding to $43 million, and $43 million puts the program at the same funding level as it was for the fiscal year 2023. But still, the Texas Department of Housing and Community Affairs announced recently that they are accepting applications for the Texas Rent Relief Program. This is a new kind of stimulus payment, folks.
And folks, we witnessed history. And here's what else we saw. Parents and children who watched every single one of your games together, sometimes driving 10 hours just to see you play. And then we've seen you take the time to talk to them, to laugh with them, to show millions of our daughters they can do anything as well. Anything. You know, in this team, we saw hope, we saw pride, and we saw purpose. It matters. You know, it's been 51 years since Congress passed Title IX, guaranteeing all women and girls equal rights to participate, not only in sports, but in any school program. Today, 58%, this, my colleagues don't like me always mention this, but 58% of all college students are women, up from 42%. Not athletes in college, are women. And there are now about 10 times more female athletes in college and high school than there were. Millions more women are getting sports scholarships and a chance not just to play, but to earn degrees and build their lives.
And we should have the defense bill passed now, but we're not going to do this funding until next year. It's totally inconsistent, unsafe, and the rest. So you just have to ask them that. But it just shows you how determined they are not to invest in the American people.
It's happening. The lawmakers are discussing a huge process on passing a new bill. These bills would have a great effect on the American people. However, folks, the Democrats are raising concerns on the United States right now. In this moment, we don't know what they're going to do about this fourth stimulus, because Kevin McCarthy signaled his support for today for some cuts in defense spending amid the growing tension with the White House and GOP leaders about whether another stimulus should be sent out today. Well, let me tell you one thing, it definitely should. During an appearance, Kevin McCarthy was asked if he was willing to cut defense spending as part of a reported deal with the GOP caucus in order to freeze spending at 2022 levels. While McCarthy disputed estimates that such a deal would result in a $75 billion cut to defense spending, something that people don't even want to admit is the fact. McCarthy told Fox, "It's back if we go to 2022 levels. There was the spending just 2 or 3 weeks ago. That's not cutting defense by $75 billion. So, the speaker also noted that every single level of the government should be looking at ways to spend less taxpayer money, but Kevin McCarthy remains timid as tensions grow within the White House GOP over possible reductions to defense spending. As a result of the deal, McCarthy reportedly struck in his bid to secure the speakership. Now, to cap discretionary spending in the fiscal year 2022, that would effectively cut $75 billion, everybody. $75 billion from the $900 billion of defense spending that the Democrats have and that the Democrats want. The Republican House majority also passed its first bill this week in an effort to revoke a boost in spending for the IRS. McCarthy announced that it was the first order of business because government should work for you, not against you. The bill passed a 221 to 210 vote along the party lines. It would rescind the budget increase of $80 billion given to the IRS earlier this year for the IRA. So now, however, the Biden administration has also threatened to make some big changes. And this is what I'm talking about. With Congress divided between Republican-led House and Democratic-held Senate, the policy priorities of either party may pass in a single chamber, but are unlikely to succeed in both. Partisan measures, therefore, have standing a little chance of becoming law, and the current Congress does not expect to pass a bill, major one that is, that advances the partisan platforms of Republicans and Democrats. Some analysts have worried that Republicans' infighting in the recent rules package are a sign of more alarming things to come. They fear that the House may not be able to approve a must-pass bill, including government budgets and bills to raise debt ceiling. Congress holds the purse strings. It allocates the funds to federal agencies and programs, folks. And appropriations bills are passed periodically through Congress. But when it runs out, well, things are done. It's over for them. I do want to say that the Congress holds and last year that needed to approve an increase in the government borrowing power known as the debt ceiling. This means that Democrats warned that if the Republican-held House plays politics too much with the issue, it could lead to a disastrous consequence for the U.S. and the economy. And now, our state is on the track to reach a debt ceiling on January 19th, unless Congress does something. In the past, Congress has avoided this raising debt limit, but House Republicans say they will not support another increase unless they get spending cuts or other concessions. Defaulting on the debt would be a first in U.S. history. It would force officials to choose between continuing assistance, like Social Security, and paying interest on the nation's debt. But a House Republicans' payment prioritization plan will call for Biden administration to make the most urgent federal payments if the debt limit is reached. This plan is causing some confusion among the Democrats because they really just don't even know what to do and if they should send out stimulus. Well, the truth is they need to, and the truth is they have to send out stimulus now. We got 10 news about the fourth stimulus check, Social Security benefits, SSI, SDI, as well as the SSA. We have a 10 news about the